No. I can, the matter is sub judice. I don't want to get into it because, I have the strongest belief on the courts, and we have all submitted ourselves to the courts. Whatever relief we have got from the courts. But I can tell you there's nothing that was, there was all of these are baseless, bald allegations. And that's exactly what, if you see the reports, the judgments that have come out so far, the judgments are clear. There is not an iota of evidence. These are bald allegations. Completely bald allegations. Sir, again, this is a conjecture. Okay? I think the best place for this conjecture to get discussed and found out is in the courts. They have failed to produce a single evidence of this matter in the courts in the last 2.5 years. Statements are very easy to make. Truth is truth. If anybody believes, and if I would find my ex-organization coming in front and saying that this has been done, I would like to challenge them. I would like to, but I'm sure Siemens wouldn't say this. I'm pretty sure they haven't done this.
What do you want to say on the vision of Chandrababu?
Amazing vision. I mean, his vision of, it sometimes staggers you. And as I said, by the way, I've worked with multiple state governments. Being a chief minister, I'm sure, is a very tough job. Because imagine if as a CEO of a company, if I can imagine how my 24 hours went, and he's representing crores of people, and he's articulating to the last level of how he wants to translate and build the industrial infrastructure, including the soft infrastructure, which is skills of the people, to find jobs so that they can find jobs across the country, maybe internationally, so that they become ambassadors and bring in investments into the state. If this is not enthralling, then what is enthralling? And I'm saying any chief minister must be having a very tough job, and they have all demonstrated that, and that's why we had worked finally with those states to deliver these projects. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Number two is, what is a shell company? A company which is functioning, which has employees, the company which is paying salaries, the company which is paying its benefits, the company which is paying taxes. These are all shell companies. One day suddenly somebody says they're shell companies. So I may also as well say that you guys don't even exist. Does that make it truth? Any more truth than you saying that I didn't exist over here? This was a robo who came in and sat over here and spoke. That isn't truth. The truth is right in the front. By calling somebody a shell company, it's like calling in the schools, you call somebody a name. It's name calling. And that is what is happening. The problem that is these allegations are impacting people's lives, because behind these companies are individuals like me who have families. These are impacting our lives. We are not institutions. We are not companies. We are no more, I'm no more a company. These are impacting our lives, our literal lives. But what is impacting more is that, imagine this 213,000 student. It was your brother who went and got trained over there, and suddenly his employer is calling and saying, by the way, the certificate that you have given to find this employment, this certificate may not be valid because your government is saying that this was actually a scam, this certificate isn't valid. It is exactly like that. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for the parents of these 213,000 students. And that is what has implored me, because I have taken this last 2 years. You separately go and talk to my family and you will understand what has happened to them. But I'm not calling for sympathies, but I'm saying, please do not put the 213,000 people who got trained over there below a bust. These allegations are impacting lives. Let me give you a little background of this project. What's the reason of these projects? The reason of this project is twofold. One is industry downwards, the country downwards, state downwards, and there is a company upwards. What's the benefit for the company? Why would a company do such a project? Now, when Andhra Pradesh, for example, got bifurcated in 2014-15, the brief to us was that this part of the state has been primarily an agricultural state. When you're an agricultural state, unlike the other part of the state, where IT had by then got established in a big way, it was a primarily agricultural state. Now, when you say industrial infrastructure, it is not about building roads and building corridors and building industrial lands. It's also about building the people who are going to work in that industry. You can't have an industrial infrastructure without people being ready in this state. And for an agricultural infrastructure state, this is an impossible task of impossibility. And that is what the vision of the state government was, which was told to us, based on which we did a market research, we found out the gaps, we aligned with the state government's industrial policy, and the entire scope of the project was decided. Based on the decision of the scope of the project, this project was designed to not just address the high end of the engineering skills, but also the mid-range and the low end of the skills. In the parlance of industry, it is called the white collar, blue collar, gray collar, and rust collar workforce. And that's the reason why there are center of excellences, there are technical skill development institutes, and so on and so forth. Established over 40 locations. Initially it was 36, it was extended without any change of any additional payment. It was extended over 40 locations, where over 200 plus labs have been set up. These centers span over 250,000 square feet and more. I don't know the latest numbers. And till 2021, 213,000 students have been trained, certified, and all their details are available in the system. In 2021, so the contract was to build, operate, and transfer. Build, then operate for 2 years, handhold for 1 year, and then transfer this at the end to the government. All of the phases have been completed. In fact, it took more than 3 years, not thanks to COVID. The center was additionally run. Handover wasn't possible. And in 2021, these centers were handed over. 40 booklets for each of these centers with complete stock register, co-signed by Design Tech, who was the system implementation for the project, with APSSDC representing the state government, and with the center head, which is the principal of the college, have been signed and have been handed over to the government. At the end of the successful implementation of this project had received letter of commendation from APSSDC saying, great job done. And this is, I'm talking about 2021. On the same 2021, the others, and this is letter of commendation has come from the managing director of APSSDC, not some officer. I was not in Siemens. This is my after knowledge. 2018, I left. I had no understanding of what was happening. On the same 2021, there's another side of APSSDC, which, for reasons unknown, and I would be very curious to know what was the internal trigger, that while the managing director is giving a letter of commendation based on successful handover and successful completion of this project, would somebody want to come and do an investigation which never ever did a single visit of any of these centers and did any single verification of this project and said this project is bogus, based on which an FIR was launched and rest is history. You all know what has happened. This is a big mystery, because it's pretty much like the analogy that I want to give is that you are investigating how a murder was done, how a person has been killed, etc., etc. When the person who is supposed to be murdered is actually standing out over there. The person is actually standing out over there, and you are investigating how he was murdered, where is the weapon, etc. It intrigues me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a professional. But it intrigues me that without even first, there's an Aesop fable that if the crow says that your ear has been taken, the first thing that you should do is put your hand on the ear and see if your ear has been taken. Don't run after the crow. This is something we have learned in the schools. Why something as basic as this was not done before these charges were riled up to say that this project is a bogus project, sham project, and then allegations, wildest allegations I can't even imagine, have been filed upon me and other people, and rest is all up to you. This project was so successful that KPMG, in its 2016 State of India report, KPMG Global in the State of India report, cites this project as an example and a case study of one of the most successful projects that could ever be done. All of that has been ignored. The detailed document leading to the project, which has all the reasons, it's like the whole scope document, which was a part of every conversation based on which the deliveries were done. By the way, I must tell you also this: the scope of this project was end delivery. It was not supply of products or hardware, software, etc. It was the entire scope. It was operational scope of outcome-based scope of training students to the industry quality that is required. That document has been consistently been not referred to, and that document has been consistently been not brought into picture because it clearly shows the level and the depth of which this project was envisaged and what this project has been delivered. And as you would understand, when you're talking about the scope as outcome, it is not just a bill of material. People who understand engineering, I would use an engineering word, it's also called the bill of process, which is the know-how, which in many people who talk about, startup industry call IP, but it's a know-how, it's a knowledge. And there is a bill of services. All of this was envisaged in this project, and all of this has been delivered. Because otherwise, I'm simple. Look at the end result. If the end result is what it is in front of you, and the infrastructure that was used to deliver that is in front of you, that's what the project speaks about itself. And I can always say that this project, and as Siemens, the company that I led and I worked with, we led this project successfully. With our partners and our ecosystem. There were hundreds of partners and ecosystem players who were engaged in delivering this project, and this project was done absolutely successfully. The law of natural justice says that if you are doing an investigation against somebody, you must at least call that person. It's like you're a newspaper reporter, you're writing a report against somebody, you will at least write that what is your opinion, I'm going to write this piece. The company may decide not to come and give you an answer. And you will write that there's no disclaimer by the company, or this is a disclaimer by the company. But I'm still sticking to the report or not sticking to the report. I was not given any opportunity. I didn't even know such a report existed till that report was filed in the courts. Okay. All I can say is I've read the report thereafter. It is laughable. It is laughable. And I will leave it at that because I think the rest, again, the courts of the country will decide.
Investigation agencies like ED and CVCID pressurized you to spell out Chandrababu Naidu's name. How far?
I would like to leave it with a smile. Some words are said better with smiles or with tears.
You didn't say anything.
No, I don't want to comment into this. I only, because I've submitted myself to the courts. This is something that you have to read between the lines.